Here's a little presentation on the state of our sun today. Today, around right this minute actually, the sun is entering the final degree of the astrological sign Sagittarius. These yellow lines that just came up are actually the borders of the constellations. They enclose the constellation itself. The blue lines that you see here are actually the outlines of the asterisms that we use our imagination to draw in the sky to connect the brightest stars. For instance, here's a very clear teapot. It's very easy to see, even in most cities that aren't too large. Up here is Ophiuchus, the snake handler. Now, this large constellation that encapsulates the asterism of the snake handler, the constellation being called Ophiuchus, actually comes down here over this line here. This line is the ecliptic. The ecliptic is merely the imaginary line that we draw in the sky based on the path that the sun makes as it traces its path across the background of stars throughout the period of a year. So the sun is always on the ecliptic by definition. This is where the sun is today. To the left of Ophiuchus, it just left Ophiuchus a couple days ago because the sun travels this way every day, a little bit more, tick by tick. If the sun is here today, then tomorrow the sun will be here. The next day the sun will be here. Now you might be confused because over here you see the word Sagittarius. Some of us prefer to use the word the archer for this constellation because as astrologers, we use the word Sagittarius for the astrological sign. However, some words have more than one meaning, Sagittarius being one of them. So, I just told you the sun is entering the final degree. There are 30 degrees in a sign of the sign Sagittarius, and yet here it looks like it's just entering the constellation of Sagittarius. That's okay, because as I've said many times before and will continue to say many times in the future, signs are not constellations. The actual constellation of Sagittarius has little to do with the astrological sign of Sagittarius. There are some overlaps between the meanings, but the places in the sky differ because the sky is slowly changing over the long period of around 26,000 years as the Earth wobbles around its axis. If you want to know where the signs are, you can look at this ecliptic grid. Up here you see the word 270. That means 270 degrees past 0 degrees, which is the point of Aries, which in the northern hemisphere represents the first day of spring. If you follow this line down where it crosses the ecliptic, you see a little plus and this little symbol here, which is Capricorn. As you can see, the sun is about to converge with the Capricorn point, which means the sun is about to enter Capricorn in one day. That will be 0 degrees of Capricorn, which for us in the northern hemisphere is the winter solstice. Now over to the right at 240 degrees, 270 minus 240 is 30. So all of this part of the sky here represents the sign of Sagittarius. Here is where 270 crosses the ecliptic. So as the sun entered this point and traveled through here for about a month, we were in Sagittarius season. Even though part of the snake handler lies upon the ecliptic, and part of the scorpion lies upon the ecliptic, this is indeed the Sagittarius sign. Even though the archer lies over here, this is indeed the sign of Capricorn. Signs do not equal constellations. You'll note there's a very fine crescent moon over here in the scales. that is quickly moving to the left every day and will soon converge with the sun, giving us another new moon shortly after the winter solstice tomorrow. The new moon will likely not be tomorrow, but it will be shortly afterwards, a day or two later, I imagine, based on what I see here. Now here's a picture of the sky with the Milky Way showing. They say the Milky Way rises out of the teapot. And right here is the center of the Milky Way galaxy. If you draw a line up towards the ecliptic, perpendicular with it, you will then project the center of the galaxy, or the galactic center, onto the astrology map, which is often the ecliptic, and it lies at around 27 degrees Sagittarius. Remember, this is 29 degrees. That would be 28, and this would be 27. So if you have any planets or asteroids or interesting things at 27 degrees Sagittarius, or around there, then you may have something to say about the truth and great meaning, because the center of the galaxy is a big deal. There's a supermassive black hole there with a lot of mass. And one final picture I'll show is a little more natural. We'll take the asterisms away, and you'll just see the stars, the balsamic crescent moon, a couple of planets hanging out in the Archer, and the sun about to enter the sign of Capricorn. What will this new season bring? Well, hopefully Capricornian things. Hopefully something that allows you to build anew, something that allows you to receive the blueprints for new buildings. They could be mental, they could be spiritual. I hope you enjoy the solstice tomorrow. Thanks for watching.